In the wake of cyclone Michaung's aftermath, Chennai faces a new crisis, a sprawling oil spill spanning 20 square kilometers. Now, the affected region extends from the Kosasthalaiyar River to the Kasimedu harbour, as confirmed by the Indian Coast Guard. Concerted efforts are underway to disperse and break down the oil, with the Indian Coast Guard deploying a specially equipped chopper to spray oil spill dispersals. Now, the primary objective is to minimize damage and promptly mitigate the environmental impact. Now, responding to the crisis, the NGT established a high-level committee on December 9th. Now, this committee has been charged with preventing further spread of the oil spill, removing oil from the water surface, reviewing measures to prevent crude oil spread, recovering oil in water, and safeguarding the health of area residents, assessing financial damage and compensating affected individuals, as well as reinforcing the emergency response system. Now, let's tell you that the Tamil Nadu Pollution Control Board, in its report, has traced the oil back to the northern areas of Chennai, specifically the Kodungaiyar and the Thondiyarpet. Now, these areas house the facilities of two major entities, the Chennai Petroleum Corporation Limited and the Indian Oil Corporation Limited. However, the Chennai Petrol Corporation Limited denies the report of spillage, labeling the incident as unfortunate. Now, CPCL's lawyer asserts that there was no spillage from their plants and suggests that the spillage could have originated from other facilities.
The impact is almost felt in almost all resident areas in this area, and we are yet to start the cleaning of the process, and it seems very, very difficult to clean it because it's full of it's maybe a crude oil. So we attempted to clean inside our house. It was fully highly dense oil. We could not do much of a cleaning. I don't know what material to be required to clean up fully. Still, you can see the stains everywhere. Everybody is trying to their level best to clean it up. Not fully succeeded.
Okay. Sir, what are the damages inside your house? Sir, if you could just give us perspective,
all electric appliances, things like our furnitures, all that got damaged, and the water level raised within a span of 1 or 2 hours. So there was no this time, least time to cover it up. So we were surprised and shocked.
Okay.
We did not have any time to get anything moved up.
To better understand this development as far as the repercussions as well, let me go across to my guests who joined me this evening. Vimlendu Jha, environmentalist; Krishan Mitru, consultant, disaster management and environment; as well as Dr. Narayan Lakshman, associate editor, The Hindu. Thank you everyone for taking the time out and joining us here on Mirror Now. Vimlendu, let me come to you first. How crucial is it to conduct a thorough investigation to determine, first of all, the exact cause of the oil spill in Chennai, and what methodologies should be employed to establish accountability as well?
See, it's very, very important for us to understand that a similar incident, or in fact worse than this, incidents actually happened in 2017, the famous January oil spill of 2017. And in fact, the worst, there's some sort of a repetition here, or a repeat of what happened in 2017, that time as well, as in the shipping minister, because that was a collision between two ships. And for days together, there was no official announcement whether there was an oil spill or not. And similarly here also, right now, it's been 3 days or over, and we don't really know what's the cause, whether there's an oil spill, whether there was an oil leak or not. So first thing first, I think it's very, very responsible on the part of the government. The least that they can do is to accept that there's an oil leak. Oil did not really come from the sky. Oil actually came from the facilities that are around North Chennai area. 20 square kilometers is not a small area that's getting affected. And imagine more than 50 such instances have actually taken place in last several years. So when we know that we are actually prone to oil spills, we know the impact that oil spill has, and of course in terms of the marine biodiversity and marine life that gets affected, in short term, in the long term, of course, this getting into our food chain and the impact that it has, and also oil entering our water system. So, it's a disaster that could have been averted in the sense, of course, we knew there was a cyclone coming, and therefore, what are the kind of safeguards that we actually have to ecologically sensitive or dangerous locations or sites like these? And in the past, we haven't learned. Chennai
Vimlendu,
had
as you
seen
make
a
those
terrible oil
remarks,
spill.
I'm just going to
6 years
interject
ago.
this so that we could also play the graphics in terms of what the Tamil Nadu Water Resources Department also has said. They've also gone on to state that there is a serious threat to people and marine life. Also, the report also established that teams have inspected this affected area and observed traces of oil in the Buckingham Canal.
Absolutely. And imagine till date, it's been 4 days, but we don't really know where the oil came from. As in, we'll be able to, of course, the Indian Coast Guards are actually doing their best. That's the disaster response, but disaster response is not post-disaster. Disaster response ideally should be pre-disaster. And right now, I think better disaster preparedness or response would be possible if we know the truth. By just hiding both CPCL and the other organization, they're just blaming each other. We do not know where the oil, where is the leak in fact, as it just came as a surprise. Till date, we do not know after 3 to 4 days that where did it actually happen from, or if there was some sort of a damage. Of course, there was a cyclone. We can understand that, but when you knew there was a cyclone that was happening, a toxic facility like a CPCL being very close to Chennai, you will have to create those safeguards or have an emergency response team. Right now, in fact, last time we saw thousands of volunteers actually cleaning the oil, the sludge with their bare hands. Similarly, we've seen villagers actually cleaning this oil with their bare hands today. It's extremely, imagine in modern India right now, when we know our climate vulnerability, we know the cyclone that was coming, we know Chennai was actually submerged. There should have been a better, more sensible, responsive governance mechanism and checks and balances in place, but we haven't really learned from our past mistakes.
Absolutely, and as you point that out about accountability, beg your pardon as well, we'll get further talking about that, Vimlendu. But as you make those opening remarks, let me bring in Krishan as well. Krishan, we're also, looking at the graphics on our air, essentially talking about what the report states, and we are now witnessing the damage, and managing the damage, of course, is equally crucial. But how does the aftermath of these oil spills work out to curb the disaster? Are there many challenges?
Thank you for inviting me on your channel. Yes, there are very, very serious consequences of such an oil spill, especially when the oil spill is the type of oil that has spilled is understood to be a waste oil. This means it will contain all kinds of harmful chemicals and minerals, which is all the more dangerous not only to the environment, to the sea life, and it is also fire prone. Anytime, anywhere, it can catch fire, and if it so happens, then it will be further disastrous. I would also like to point out to Vimlendu Jha, Mr. Jha, disaster response is always post-disaster. Pre-disaster is disaster preparedness. That we'll, in any case, lay to rest for the time being, and we'll discuss later. The situation now is, as per the laws, as per the environmental laws, it is an established fact that polluter pays. One thing is polluter pays. As the local pollution control board has found out, the leak is from CPCL and IOCL plants, facilities, and there are no other facilities unless CPCL and IOCL can defend themselves by pointing out where the leak is. Now, unless it is pointed out so, it is the polluter, whosoever is the polluter, will have to take the onus, will have to take the responsibility of owning of this willful oil spillage of contaminated
Krishan,
oil.
I'd have to
I
interject you
would,
there. Apologies for that. But since you're talking about taking accountability, we're also going to put that graphics out for our viewers also to better understand that CPCL has denied the spillage. In fact, it's denied the report, but has called it unfortunate. And the lawyer of CPCL states that there's no spillage from the plants. In fact, said that spillage could be from other plants.
Yes, wherever is it? Can you say that it cannot be established where the spillage has started from? It can always be established. And if the Chennai Pollution Control Board has established that that the spillage is from CPCL and IOCL, I think there's little room left for any further clarification. Now, unless they can prove, CPCL and IOL can prove that there's no spillage from their facility, then it is a different matter. But just to deny that it is not from my facility, that cannot be accepted. And however, the Green Tribunal, the South Bench of the Green Tribunal, has also ordered an inquiry, and the state government is in the process. But it is very sad that the two main facilities which are located in the area have outright denied their owners of the serious pollution that has been spread around. It is affecting everybody: environment, human beings, sea life. And the only way to counter this now, however, we must think of how to counter this now. The only way to do it right now is to get the gully suckers. Gully suckers are the machines, vacuum machines, which suck the solids or semi-solids from the drains, etc., and take it in a container and then transfer it to another container to be disposed of elsewhere. So
Krishan, although you're making those significant points, I'm afraid I'll have to interject you there so that we could also get Narayan to quickly share with us his perspective as well. Narayan, the NGT, of course, had to step in and take note of the same. And we've heard what Vimlendu and Krishnan have to say. However, we do know that the Chennai Petroleum Corporation denied the spillage. But once again, it's the citizens that are caught in the middle. The responsibility of the government towards citizens is also essential, especially when there's a direct impact on health.
Absolutely, and I think it's quite tragic that this has come immediately on the back of the cyclone Michaung, which has caused untold misery across the city. Obviously, people are already angry and irate there at what they perceive to be the failure of the stormwater drain clearance, the desilting, which is supposed to have happened, and I believe on which enormous funds have been spent, running into maybe thousands of crores. So one has very already, disturbing questions about the lack of overall disaster preparedness for the city. And mind you, the context is that this is a repeat incident of, say, 2015, and then we had similar issues in 2018 of woeful lack of preparation. On top of that, now the oil spill, I think, highlights the fact that we're seeing across India where there is no attention given, not sufficient attention given to pinning accountability. Forget about the technical aspect of actual cleanup. I totally agree with the other speakers here. That is essential, and that is the action point, so to speak, in the coming days. But what is the institutional accountability mechanism? What is the preparedness monitoring mechanism at, let's say, oil refinery sites or oil processing sites, where when there is a gap, when there is a failure of systems of some kind, it's picked up in a time-sensitive manner. So I think that is going to be the NGT, the National Green Tribunal, is going to have to ask this question of accountability and get the rest of the political system in line, on providing answers and setting up mechanisms where there are none. Because this highlights more than anything to me the institutional failure. Of course, it's an environmental failure, and it's a disaster that needs to be cleaned up, and the technology has to be brought to bear. But how could something happen and this much time even pass without accountability and responsibility. I think that is the core question. And as I said, it hurts that much more on the to the city and the citizenry of Chennai and of this area when it comes on the back of this debilitating cyclone.
Absolutely, Dr. Lakshman. And on that note, in fact, although this discussion has been quite interesting for our viewers, also better to understand the implications of this unfortunate incident, I'd have to thank all of you for the moment for sharing with us your perspective. Thank you once again. We're actually shifting our focus now